extremely painful and downright disgusting and emasculating months of sideways action that has sent the Moon Boys into an extinction-level event that rivals even the explosion of the dinosaurs 600 years ago. There is evidence right now that a big move is incoming. But the question is bigger than you could ever imagine. And what if I told you something absolutely shocking was just inches away? I'm your host, Spoon Magoo, and there is something eerily big flashing on these charts right now. And if I tell you, let's just say you might not be the same person, dare I say the same gender, ever again. This is absolutely time-sensitive alerts. Take advantage of over $16,000 in deposit bonuses below. As well, sign up to get 10 free USDT with the BitGet link below, which is also available to US traders, and many other sweet treats as well. And without any further spagoo, let's get dumped on. Absolutely unimaginable, unfathomable, and incredibly huge. Right now, Bitcoin has been trading sideways for, we're coming up on almost 4 months, really, if we zoom out here. And many things have happened in that time. But before we jump into these charts, I think it's very important to note a few things. And that absolutely entails things outside of cryptocurrency directly. But as of this morning, this kind of breaking, there is some credible evidence, according to many news sources here, that major international investment banks, or a bank, could be on the brink. And is this really surprising, first of all? Hearing this or seeing this isn't really surprising at all. In fact, what we saw with the Bank of England just days ago, do you think that similar things are happening around the world? Oh my good golly gosh, 100,000 trillion%, in my opinion. So really, I mean, this is a ticking time bomb, in my opinion. What is going to happen? Nobody knows. But one of these days, I promise you this, one of these days, sooner than later, in my opinion, you're going to wake up, I'm going to wake up, and things are going to be a little itsy-bitsy, teensy-weensy crazier than they were the day before. Are we talking Lehman Brothers style collapse, or are we talking something a little milder, or in fact, are we talking something much more devastating? Perhaps the biggest dumpulation since the beginning of mankind. Absolutely huge. If one major bank or pension fails, it will not be alone due to contagion. Obviously, everything is connected here. So that's the thing. If we talk about, we just said this, there's maybe one international investment bank on the brink, what that really implies is much greater than that. And the ripple effects are much greater than that. The only reason more banks did not fall in 2008 is because central banks stepped in to save them. And there was a lot of pain in between. Are we right now seeing something similar? Okay, 2008 was something that kind of blindsided a lot of people. But as long as I've been in crypto, and for at least the last 6 years, I've been hearing similar things of, we're about to see another 2008 again. It's considered like an urban legend, basically. Everyone refers to it as a massive doom, and everyone's been looking out for the next one. Okay, so I don't think that we're going to see a 2008 style collapse the same exact way that we saw the 2008 collapse happened. I think that it will be, in my opinion, much more sneaky, much more potentially quick, and much less predictable, as everyone is trying to predict it. What are the chances? I think a lot of things might have to get overlooked or will get overlooked. I mean, basically all I'm saying is I don't think it will play out in the same exact sequence that 2008 did. Everybody on the planet, more so than ever before, especially compared to 2008, is a pro-stock market analyzer, pro-crypto analyst, everything, right? Everybody has predictions. You tweet out, wow, this looks like we might get a dump. You'll get 1,000 replies of every scenario in between. So people are very tuned in and watching this, and I think that could it happen in real time? I do think that it will happen. Literally, it could be any day now, okay? I don't think that there's going to be I think we already are seeing that buildup. I think that we are literally every day that's going by, we're in a position right now where it's built up enough to where we could see the dominoes fall by tomorrow. Right? Any day that happens. And how will that affect crypto? And that's what we're going to be, again, diving into a little bit. But big move in the next few days after essentially a month of sideways, all the same chart. This is just the Bitcoin chart with volume increasing here. And, we've basically seen almost 4 months of just sideways trading here. And as I said in the last video, those are the exact type of moves, the exact type of buildups that happened before the absolute biggest moves. Before the biggest moves on these charts, on the crypto charts. The biggest moves to the upside or downside, they're basically always precluded by massive levels, massive amounts of sideways trading. Now, are we going to be getting a massive dump? So one thing I want to note first is on the DXY is that we have touched this trend line multiple times over the past pretty much 6 or 7 months. And every time we've touched on this trend line, we have had a decent little pullback that did end up ultimately finding support on the previous, basically, highs and then continuing up. And so are we in store now for, a couple of weeks of sideways and downwards price action for the DXY? It's very possible. I'm not saying that the DXY has topped at all. Okay, not at all. In fact, potentially the opposite. But some sideways is very likely for the DXY, and that is when Bitcoin has the ability to make a move, and pretty much the only time that it's had the ability to make the move over the past year. As well, interesting, the crypto market is still just basically teeter-tottering on the 200-week moving average, still barely hanging on for dear life. That's not a great sign. The SPX doing the exact same thing, barely hanging on to the 200-week moving average. The last time that we touched the 200-week was the collapse at the beginning of 2020, right? Everyone knows, because of the shutdowns, because of the lockdowns. That is the last time we had this type of collapse. Before that, when was it? The very bottom of the crypto bull market at the end of 2018, December of 2018. So this moving average has a very good track record of being one of the best times to buy. However, again, what I think most people really should be looking at as well is that should we go back to the 2008 collapse, and really the 200-week moving average was the beginning of that. But we have to keep in mind as well, it did dip its tip a little bit below that years before, back in 2001, and it barely managed to get above that. So these are not necessarily comparable in many ways. There was even a double top that really cemented the 2008 crisis, right? There was a double top, first top being in 2000, then in 2007 as well, that ultimately did end up in a massive collapse. We don't see similar structure here. In fact, we've seen much more bullish structure since then, since 2008. However, that doesn't mean that the 200-week is just going to come in and save the day here. So I just think it's worth noting that we are at a very critical level that historically, in the past basically 15 years, if you bought at the 200-week, that was one of the best places to buy. Will that be the case again? Well, let's take a peek. And one thing I think is really important is that Bitcoin has been holding somewhat better than the stock market, obviously, if you've been watching. And I would agree with a lot of people that would say, yes, this is not decoupling, however, just because price goes a little bit less down than the stock market and Bitcoin looks a little more stable. Does that mean that Bitcoin has decoupled? No. Do I think that a massive collapse scenario that we could be on the verge of witnessing the beginning of would be the exact time that Bitcoin would decouple? The best scenario for it to decouple? Yes, I absolutely believe that, and I've said that a million times. However, if this is truly a decoupling, this would be the very, very, very beginnings of that, and we'd have to see much more evidence consistently for a long period of time. I'm not talking about a week. I'm talking about much, much, much longer. We'd have to see consistency. This would not be proven overnight. This needs time to be shown. However, there would be a lot of things that would diverge a little bit historically that would give us bigger and bigger hints that, wow, maybe this is a decoupling. And it's mainly, though, consistency. Mainly consistency in the decoupling over time. But as well, with all of the sideways trading for the past multiple months, is this one of the best positions to trade? I personally think that we will be seeing volatility, which lends itself to good opportunities of trading, right? Trading is much more boring if you're swing trading when the price is the same for multiple months. Big volatility leads to either big gains or big losses. However, they can be prevented if you use a stop loss, obviously. But that's the big thing here. This is probably the most sideways chart for the longest amount of time that we've seen. Well, at least in the last few years. Probably back to the bottom in 2018. And a lot of people will say, yeah, well, you know what happened as soon as that sideways? Yes, we did get a slash. We got like a 50% dump from like 6K down to 3K. But that was the ultimate bottom. Are we about to see something similar? I mean, I don't think exactly the same, but a 50% dump from here would bring us down to about 10,000 US dollars. Also keep in mind though, 12,000, if we even pull out the VPVR, 12,000 US dollars per Bitcoin is a massive support level. 12,000. This is where all of this volume accumulated really starts to come in heavy here. You can see it here on the VPVR, right at 12,000. So in my opinion, in a perfect doomsday scenario where Bitcoin does absolutely collapse, a lot of people are targeting 10K. I think that 12K and even a little bit above 12K would be much bigger support than anyone's giving it credit for. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but all I'm saying is if the worst possible case for Bitcoin happened and everything started collapsing, 12K is monumental in terms of support. That is huge. So I absolutely think that should be talked about well before anyone starts saying we're going straight to 10K. 12K is just kind of, I mean, to put it simply, it's kind of like the big Magoo, to be honest. Absolute time-sensitive alerts. Take advantage of over $16,000 in trading bonuses below, and as well, sign up with BitGet to get 10 USDT futures trading bonus simply by signing up. Takes 20 seconds. That is available for US residents. And yeah, altcoins, many altcoins, ADA, XRP, and a lot of people are, wondering, how can I get XRP? That is available on BitGet as well. Without any further Magoo, that's for me.